Hello, and today I'm going to be reading some quotes from How I Met Your Mother and just a bit of commentary. Today I chose a very blue theme, so my blue headphones, my blue cup, and my blue hoodie. So yeah, let's get into it. Whenever I'm sad, I stop being sad and be awesome instead. Barney Stinson. We saw how when the show continued that this was not true, because we saw Barney cry and be genuinely sad and have some very tough days, but he would try to mask it and just cope with it, like if for him being sad was just a switch, and it wasn't. Okay, the next one. It's just, eventually, we're all gonna move on. It's called growing up. Lily Aldrin. Okay, this is true with some things, but we all do eventually move on, depending on the situation, depending on what you're talking about. But yeah, we grow up, we let go of some things that we now see that we should let go of. Let's see. The future is scary, but you can't just run back to the past because it's familiar. Yes, it's tempting, but it's a mistake. Robin Scherbatsky. Yes. Yes. Getting into new situations, a new job, a new relationship, it's very scary sometimes, and you just find comfort in old habits, old relationships, old partners. And like she said, it is very tempting, but it is a mistake. And like Lily said, we need to try to move on, grow up. So yeah, just because it's familiar doesn't mean it's good for you. So yes, I agree with this one. Okay. That cake, best cake I ever had. Seriously, my stomach was like, hey bro, I don't know what you're eating because I don't have any eyes, but it's basically awesome, so keep sending it down. Marshall Erickson. Marshall was such a good character. Alright, next one. Everyone has an option on how long it takes to recover from a breakup. Ted Mosby. Yes. 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 That's all I'm gonna say. Yes. I realized that I'm searching for what I really want in life. And you know what? I have absolutely no idea what it is. Barney Stinson. Yes, I am 23 years old, and I do have days that I feel like that as well. So Barney, homie, I'm right there with you. Sometimes it's so crazy to me that in this show they were in their like first mid-20s and then late 20s. Yeah, I'm getting close to that age now. It's like, yeah, it's crazy. Okay, next one. We struggle so hard to hold on to these things that we know are gonna disappear eventually. And that's really noble. Lily Aldrin. Lily had some of the best quotes. This reminds me of that episode where it's like 5 minutes from now, Ted, and 10 months from now, Ted, and 10 years from now, Ted. And at the end, Ted was just alone in the bar. And the fake Barney's all like, Ted, you're all alone. And it was just such a sad moment because he spent a lot of his time just holding on to the past and holding on to certain things and not living in the moment. And yeah, it was a great show. That was a great episode too. Let's see. Because sometimes, even if you know how something's gonna end, that doesn't mean you can't enjoy the ride. Ted Mosby. Yeah. This does go by a situation by situation, but yeah, I agree. That's life, you know. We never end up where you thought you wanted to be. Marshall Erickson. Yes. Yeah, a few years ago I did not think I was gonna be here. A few years ago I always said, oh, I'm never gonna move out of my hometown, I'm always gonna be here. And yeah, I never wanted to leave, and I ended up leaving. And yes, growing up I just see like a lot of these things when I was listening to them in the show. I was like, okay, yeah, no, that's not true. And now a few years later, like reading them and rewatching the show, I feel, yeah, that's very accurate. So, next one. Oh my goodness, look at you cowards, so afraid of any change, so terrified of anything new. So desperate to cling on to anything comfortable and familiar. Robin Scherbatsky. I love how that's such a reoccurring theme in the show, just being so scared of change and going back to what's comfortable. And yeah, that's how we are. I liked how they did portray a lot of real real situations like this. This was not everything was real, obviously. It's a TV show. But I liked that this was a reoccurring thing, because even in life it's a reoccurring thing. We want to run back to what's familiar. Yeah. I wound up shame eating the whole pizza. I woke up all greasy and sweaty. My sheets looked like what they wrapped deli sandwiches in. Maybe I should join a gym. Ted Mosby. Homie, maybe I should join a gym too. I get recognized one time and I start thinking I'm Julia Roberts. I'm no VIP. I'm not even an IP. I'm just one lonely pea sitting out there in the gutter. Robin Scherbatsky. Many times we feel like that. We let one thing get to our heads, and then we just have such high from that, and then everything else is not as good as compared to what we had, because we have all of that, like, I guess adrenaline, and I think another word would be like dopamine, and then we just set that as our expectation, and then we're just like, oh, like, I don't know if I'm making any sense, because I'll start a sentence and then I'll finish in the middle, and I hope I'm making sense, and then I'll just stop talking. So I hope you guys kind of get used to this. I'll stop speaking in the middle of the sentence, thinking, okay, yeah, that was enough. Yeah. Revenge fantasies never work out the way you want. Marshall Erickson. No, they do not. I am planning a confrontation, and I've been practicing so many scenarios in the mirror in my bathroom. And I'm pretty sure none of the scenarios that I'm practicing for are going to happen. I'm going to be confronting someone when I go home soon, and the fact that I need to prep for the worst case scenario, and probably none of the scenarios that I'm prepping for are going to be. My dream is that they grew up and got over what happened, and this confrontation will not have to happen. But just in case, I am prepping for worst case scenario. I got the tone down. I gotta practice it. The first time I practiced it, I just broke down crying, so I'm getting better. I'm comfortable crying in front of people. Yeah. Okay. So really, the biggest mistake would be not to make that mistake, because then you'll go your whole life not knowing if something was a mistake or not. Lily Aldrin. Yes and no. You need to think out, like I said, the possible outcomes, the possible scenarios that could happen. Sometimes even if I know it's going to be a mistake, I'll do something anyway, and then I know if the outcome was a mistake, I'm like, okay, yeah, I knew that from the get-go. And other times, it's great. So, I'm like 70-30 on this. Agree 70%, that 30%. Sometimes no. Next one. I finally found the one, Marshall. Her name is Bacon. Ted Mosby. When Ted's mom told Ted that he was allergic to bacon, and he was allergic to not saying thank you, or please and thank you. Everyone says, I'm not going to be like that with my kids, and then those nevers get us. I'm never going to do this, I'm never going to be that. Never say never. Justin Bieber taught us that. Wise man. The best I can give you is a fake smile and dead eyes. Robin Scherbatsky. If that's the best you can give us right now, Queen, thank you. If that's the best, if whatever your situation is, that's the best you can give us, thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me the best, and that is your best, and I will take your best. I realize that I'm searching for what I really want in life, and you know what? I have absolutely no idea what it is. Barney Stinson. I think I already read this one. But yes. Oh yes, I already read this one. Okay. I've never asked Lily to do anything no questions asked, because I never wanted to. She's the love of my life. I never keep anything from her. Marshall Erickson. I loved that their relationship was real in the show, because it wasn't just the perfect relationship, and it wasn't that chick flick super romantic, good all the time. They had struggles. They broke up. They had legit arguments. They saw their people, and even past all of that, like, they made it work and they got back together. It was a real relationship, because sometimes they don't show that in either TV shows or in movies, and it's all just perfect, the perfect romance, and we're so in love with love. And with Lily and Marshall, they showed a lot of real stuff, and I appreciated that a lot, because sometimes we just have such a high expectation, and there's nothing wrong with having expectations, but we just have like, oh, I want a romance like such and such from such and such movie or TV show. And their relationship, we saw the ups and downs, and how I honestly thought they weren't going to make it many times. And since the show ran for a few years, it was like, whoa. Just a roller coaster of emotions with them. Even when they renewed their vows at Barney and Robin's wedding, because they're like, I vow to keep 80% of these vows, and Lily said to Marshall, oh, that seems a little high. And he said, then I vow to keep renewing these vows, because my love for you, it grows each day. And I thought that was beautiful, because that's very true. You can't just like vow one thing and then 10-20 years later, your relationship dynamic, your situation is so much more different and evolved, and everything around you is so much more different. So from that, Barney vowed to Robin, hey, I vow to always be honest with you, because I think that's what really matters. So yeah, I like that. Look, I know the odds are the love of my life isn't going to magically walk through that door in a pumpkin costume at 2:43 in the morning, but it seems just as nice spot as any to just, sit and wait. Ted Mosby. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Next one. I don't want to get married right now, maybe ever. And if we got together, I'd feel like I'd either have to marry you or break your heart, and I couldn't do either of those things. Just like you can't turn off the way you feel, Robin Scherbatsky. I love how honest that was. Even though they were endgame and I didn't like that, for me the perfect ending to the show would have been the real mom, just that she would have died and that's it. But the fact that the endgame was Ted and Robin, I don't know, I just, no. Sorry about that, my microphone died, so I have to connect it, or keep it connected now. Okay, let's see, where's the next one? Barney, it's going to be legendary. Robin, no wait for it anymore. Barney, I have you now, I don't have to. When I saw that episode for the first time, I thought that was so cute, because like you guys know, or if you've seen the show, Barney always says it's gonna be legend, wait for it, dairy. But when they were on their way to their wedding, Barney said, "It's gonna be legendary. No, wait for it. I don't have to anymore. I have you." So cute. Okay. Somewhere along the line, I forgot to pursue my dream, and now I'm old and a mom, and it's just too late for me. Lily. I thought this was very sad. I just said how much I loved her and Marshall's relationship because it's real. But I also am a big believer in you never have to choose between your significant other and your dream, because my dream will involve somehow my significant other, and I never have to choose. And I know this isn't what she's referring to, that she's not having to choose, but just in her dream and her significant other, like, she wasn't able to fully pursue it. And thankfully that she does get to do that later on in the show, but just in that moment, I can imagine she was talking about running away, so she did feel like she chose her significant other and being a mom instead of her dream. And thankfully that was not the case, because she was able to pursue her dream, being a mom, and with her significant other, and with her other baby. Whether a gesture is charming or alarming depends on how it's received. Ted Mosby. Yes, they did a whole episode on this. It depends on how you receive literally anything, and it can be either charming, like ooh, or alarming, like I have an ex and he emailed me at 2:37 in the morning, and we have been broken up for a while. I blocked him on everything. I did not find this like, oh, he's thinking about me at 2:37 in the morning and he just had to speak to me and he emailed me. No, I found this very alarming because I have been blocked on everything, so the only possible thing that he could think of was at 2:37 in the morning was to email me. Received? No, unwell. Let me see. Lily, there are a million reasons why I love you. You make me laugh. You take care of me when I'm sick. You're sweet, caring, and you even created an egg dish and named it after me. She puts a little Italian dressing on the eggs before she cooks them. It's called Eggs Marshall, and it's awesome. But the main reason is you're my best friend, Lily. You're the best friend I've ever had, Marshall Erickson. That is so cute. I want someone to name a breakfast food after me. I love breakfast foods. Okay, next one. If I ask you to change too many things about yourself, you're not gonna be the man I fell in love with. Turns out, I accept and appreciate even the grossest, creepiest, most psychopathic parts of you. Robin Scherbatsky. This was her to Barney. I really, really hoped that they would have been endgame. I shipped them so much more than her and Ted. Just, when I think about Ted and Robin, I hate Robin. But when I think about Robin and Barney, I love them so much. Maybe this isn't a breakup. Maybe it's two friends getting back together. Barney Stinson. This was after the first time Barney and Robin had dated, and it didn't work out. Definitions are important, Lily Aldrin. Yes, they are. I was looking at I think it was a tweet that a girl said, I've been dating this guy for 7 months and he just asked me why I don't have a boyfriend. So yes, definitions are important, because if not, you're going to be thinking you're dating someone for 7 months and then realize that they're not your boyfriend. I felt so sorry for this girl. Oh my gosh. 7 months. Oof. I really don't like feelings, Robin Scherbatsky. Well, it's because feelings demand to be felt. That is very hard sometimes. I'm cuddly, deal with it, Marshall Erickson. Homie, me too. Me too. I can't wait to go back home and just hug my sister and my mom and my nephew. Or my sisters, not just sister, my sisters. I miss my family so much. To be able to hug my grandparents. I miss everyone so much. Shouldn't we hold out for the person who doesn't just tolerate our little quirks, but actually kind of likes them? Ted Mosby. Yes. Yes. People are always saying nice guys finish last and all of this. Many people have very, very good best friends that they're missing out on. They're like, no, I don't see them that way. I don't know. Just keep it in mind, because some friendships are completely platonic, but maybe. We spent an hour arguing about where we're going to eat, and we end up eating here anyway. I haven't eaten for 2 days. Can we please, for the love of God, just order something now? Robin Scherbatsky. This is me every time I go out to eat with my friend. Her and I will like, oh, where do you want to go? And then we laugh because we go to the same place. And we went to Olive Garden because that's where we normally like to go. And the waiter asked us, oh, what would you like to drink? And I start to look at the menu, and she looked at me and she said, why are you pretending to look at the menu? Just order what you get every single time we're here. And I was like, wow, thanks for calling me out like that. I'll have a peach tea, thanks. And then he said, are you guys ready to order? And then I pretended to look at the menu again, and she's like, are you serious? Just order. I was like, okay. And I was just like, okay, just humor me. She was like, I'm hungry. And I was like, all right, I'll just order. I'm a good boyfriend in my sleep, Marshall Erickson. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I am Team Marshall all the way. Believe it or not, I was not always as awesome as I am today. Barney Stinson. I like this in a much deeper level. I like this because sometimes we see people, either our friends, our parents, and you're like either even I see my mom, or some of my friends, and I'm like, man, like you're such an amazing person. I'm so happy to have you as my friend, to have you in my life. But since we are friends and we have talked how we weren't always like this sometimes. Like growing up, maybe it was rough. We weren't always this happy, or things like that. One of my friends, I love her so much, and she was letting me know how she wasn't always as happy as she is right now. That growing up, it was a whole lot harder than her. So I hear things like this in TV shows, and even though sometimes it's meant to be brushed over, in a much deeper level, yeah, like believe it or not, I wasn't always as awesome as I am today. And we see some of Barney's backstory, or like a lot of his backstory, and it gets a little messy, but when he was like a hippie and all, and man, crazy. When we found out what he does for a living, how it's all been a plot, oh, that's crazy. Some couples always support each other, and some couples always challenge each other. But is one really better than the other? Yes, support is better. Way better. Future Ted Mosby. I agree. I've had people in my life that are not supportive, and then when I've had people in my life that are supportive, you kind of have that feeling of like, oh, you actually support me, and you're like always ready to fight back, and then realize that there's no need for that, because that's not who they are, and they're not going to do that. It's amazing. Support is always better. Support is always better. In marriage, being right is less important than being supportive. Lily Aldrin, again with the support. I'm not married, so I cannot speak on the marriage, but in relationships, either with friendships or romantic, yes, being right is less important than being supportive. I'm not gonna shove it into my friend's face like, hey, I was right, but support them. Or even at work, I'm not gonna shove it in their face like, I told you this da 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 XYZ, but I'll be supportive and, hey, let's try it again, let's do this instead. So she said in marriage, but in relationships in general, being right is less important than being supportive. Yes, Lily. I don't know where I'm going to be 5 years. I don't know where I'm going to be in 5 years. I don't want to know. I want my life to be an adventure. Robin Scherbatsky. I'm split on this one. I'm just split on this one. You have to let me dance my own battles. Marshall Erickson. He's funny. I used to be in such a hurry all the time. Everything was so urgent. Now I figure if it's going to happen, it'll happen when it happens. I'm not going anywhere. She's not going anywhere. What's the rush, right? Ted Mosby. what he said as Barney was planning the proposal to Robin, and then they were still endgame. I heard him say this, and Barney was planning his proposal, and I was like, Barney, you did it. And then he still got her. Which makes this very true, because he was like, if it happens, it happens. It'll happen when it happens. Yeah. Oprah wasn't built in a day, Lily Aldrin. I like it because it goes back to the other one, that I wasn't always as awesome as I am today. Again, just like brushing over some of those things that, hey, you'll get there. Like, we're getting the credentials, we're getting the experience. If you keep giving up on people so quickly, you're gonna miss out on something great, Robin Scherbatsky. Yes. 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 You will be shocked, kids, when you discover how easy it is in life to part ways with people forever. That's why when you find someone you want to keep around, you do something about it. Ted Mosby. Yes, this is very true. I'm 23, and people that I would talk to when I first started college, we just stopped talking. Or people from my high school that I thought we were gonna keep in touch, and they even said, as much as I would love that, who knows if this will just slowly fade. And I loved how they were so honest, even though now I was like, no, like, we're always gonna be friends. And I think back and I'm like, oh, I miss them so much. I haven't talked to them in years. It's been years. So yes, death is all around us. Marshall Erickson. When he was going through his Edgar Allan Poe phase. The more you fight it, the worse it's gonna get. It's like when your car slides on ice, you stir into the skid. Ted Mosby. Well, I still have a few more, but if you guys want to see another video of me reading and commenting on the rest of these quotes, drop a like, follow, subscribe, comment down below, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.